I'm Mayor Jen, and welcome to the Melrose Minute, where we bring you news you can use from City Hall. And I'm joined today by fourth-time guest Jim Troup from DPW. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
We're thrilled to have you here as winter is upon us, and you are the king of all things snow for Melrose.
That's not a title I wish to have, but
it's a title you have. So it's January, it's cold, and we're thinking about snow. We've had one kind of significant snow event so far this season. What do you want to tell folks about how we handle snow in the city?
Yeah, this is a great refresher because we've really had very little snowfall over the last couple of years. Who knows what this winter is going to turn out to be, but we've been thinking about snow probably for the last 4 months, trying to solicit contractors, trying to get our equipment ready, trying to prepare our staff and our vendors and the residents for what the winter has in store. So it's just a great time to remind people that winter is upon us, and it's time for us to look and see what we need for our snow operations for the winter time.
And what does that entail? It entails our own staff, vendors, and of course some help from residents as well.
It does. It's really a team effort. It's a community effort, and it's one that we really need the help of not only our vendors but the residents to help us fight this and make our city as safe as possible to get around and get to the places that we need to go.
Yeah, so I know you are monitoring the weather constantly.
We are.
And we're in constant communication as we anticipate a snow event. So once those flakes fall and we start deploying plows, what do we want residents to know if they need assistance or are concerned about being able to get safely around? Yeah,
so we try to keep the phones open at the DPW if there's a snow event and if we have our staff in there. You can call the DPW. We'll be happy to answer and respond as quickly as possible. After hours, it's always best to call the police non-emergency line, and they will dispatch accordingly.
Great. I think that's important for folks to know because snow does not always follow the business hours of municipal government. So evenings and weekends, if you call the non-emergency line because there's an issue, that'll get people patched to you.
Correct. And every storm is different. So.
Every storm is different. So one thing we do maintain that's been fresh and updated for this year is our snowplow map. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we finally updated the maps to indicate our routes in the neighborhoods, sidewalk plow routes, safe passages to school routes. Those are accessible on our website, and they're fairly interactive too, and we can update them accordingly based on what our operations are trying to deliver.
Great, so those are the maps when we need to make sure kids can safely get to schools, that's where folks can expect there to be some sidewalk accessibility provided by the city.
Correct. It's important to know, though, that we do not plow every sidewalk every storm. We do not salt or sand sidewalks. So again, this is where it's very important to ask for people to be good neighbors and to be very collaborative with the DPW to help really everybody get to the places that they need to get to throughout the city.
Absolutely. And speaking of salt and sand, can you mention those blue barrels that have started popping up around the city?
Yeah, they're our limited supply, and what we try to do is we try to place them in very strategic places throughout the city. They're not exclusive to any particular ward or neighborhood. They're just in strategic places that we traditionally have problems with icy road conditions, and to make them accessible for the residents to use for their own private use.
Great, we're happy to have them. And you mentioned neighborhoods, and I know we're trying something a little bit different this year with our approach to plowing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
We are. It's ever evolving. The biggest challenge that I think we have is trying to solicit vendors. We're down maybe about 15 pieces of equipment from last year's 40. So it forces us to really deliver our services with our own staff and our own equipment. Thus, we want to try to really blitz particular neighborhoods with the maximum amount of equipment, with the maximum amount of available contractors, and we're going to probably have captains in every neighborhood that is going to be able to really form a little bit more efficient quality control throughout the neighborhoods.
Great, we love to hear that, and we know folks want to make sure that their neighborhood is getting, taken care of so people can safely get out and about. So really happy to hear that. And I want to give a huge shout out to our DPW team. When everyone else is safe inside their homes, they're out working really hard in sometimes not so great conditions. So a huge thank you to you and to everyone at DPW for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else you want to make sure our community knows as we prepare for what I hope is a mild winter? I know some school children might disagree with me, and we always love to see the sledding, but from an operations perspective, we're happy to not see a lot of snow.
Yeah, it's important. Not everybody loves a snow day, right?
That is true.
I think what's important is that despite our efforts, we're going to do the best we can. We're going to respond to as many questions and inquiries that we can get. But it's still snow. It's still the winter. It's still icy. It's still slippery. So if people could just be careful out in the roads and understand that we're going to try to make them as safe as possible for travel. We want people to do their parts to be as safe as possible behind the wheels, on the sidewalks, just to prevent accidents, slips and falls, and things like that.
Great, thank you. That's a really helpful reminder, and I'll also just echo your comment that if folks can be a good neighbor, think about if they live near an elderly resident or someone they know has some mobility challenges, making sure that they're able to get safely plowed out as well is really, really helpful.
Correct, absolutely.
So thanks, Jim, and I wish you a relatively snowless next few months.
Mild and sunny.